Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another Bookmas video. Today we're going to be talking about all the books that we read in November. So I've read 16 books this month. Some of these books I read for some Bookmas videos, and I'm going to go through those first. And I'm not going to really give much of my thoughts on those because you'll be able to see them in later Bookmas videos. I reread some of my 5-star reads, and these are the 3 that I ended up reading. First was 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I love this book so much. It's still a 5-star for me, and this one has magical realism in it. Right person, wrong time. If you like the sound of that, then you should definitely read this. Again, I'm not going to go into too much about what these books are about, just because I already talk about them a lot in the Bookmas videos. Next, I reread Beartown by Frederick Bachman. After reading this, I kind of wanted to go immediately into the next book in this trilogy. I miss these characters. It's a very heartbreaking story, but then there's also some very heartwarming parts and scenes between characters, and I just love the characters in here, and I missed Frederick Bachman's writing. I love his writing. But this one takes place in a Swedish town called Beartown, where hockey is like the center of this town. Like, they all are bonded over their love of hockey. And that's kind of just like the main point of this town. And something very tragic happens that kind of is intertwined with their hockey world in this town, and it just sets off a series of events and causes chaos in this town. So I'm really glad that I reread that one. And the last one that I reread was The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This would be my 3rd time reading it this year. I will never get enough of this book. It is so good. Although when I was rereading this, I was like, why did I choose to reread this? Because I'm in pain, honestly. It's one of those books, but it couldn't be less than a 5-star. Like, there's so much drama, scandal, messy relationships, and takes place in the elite world of figure skating, like Olympic figure skating, and I just love it. And it's told through interview style, documentary style, and I just love it. I love it, and I'll never, ever shut up about it. Seriously, it's so good. So those are the 3 books I reread for a Bookmas video. The more books that I read for Bookmas videos: Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh, and I also read the second book in this interconnected series. This one kind of takes place between Chicago and Dublin. The main characters are from Dublin, but they live in Chicago. And then this one just takes place in Dublin. These were really fun holiday romance reads, and honestly, they weren't too holiday themed. Like, obviously, I wouldn't read these any other time, but it didn't feel like I was just reading it for the vibes, honestly. Like, it had the vibes, but also a plot, and I connected with the characters, and I was rooting for them, and honestly, like, these were actually, like, really great reads, and I'm so glad that I read them. And then I also read Holiday Ever After, which is Hannah Grace's new release. She wrote Icebreaker, if you didn't know. But this one is literally winter Gilmore Girl vibes. That's all I'm going to say about this one. I really enjoyed it. And if you want my ratings for all of those, I would look out for the next couple of Bookmas videos that these will be in. Because I give my final thoughts in those videos. The rest of the books are just books that I read in February just for my own entertainment / getting through my November TBR. So the first book is Society of Lies by Lauren Ling Brown. I feel like I read this forever ago. I feel like November's just been like really long. It's a dark academia setting, mystery thriller. I really enjoy dark academia settings, especially mysteries. And this one is about like secret societies in like these Ivy League schools, and it was just really entertaining, and like, I really wanted to know like what happened next. So basically it follows Maya, who is coming back to Princeton for a college reunion. She has a daughter, a husband. It says a decade since she graduated, so she's looking forward to reuniting with some old faces. And then it's also her younger sister's graduation day. So she's there for 2 reasons. But her younger sister, Naomi, ends up missing. And they end up finding her body, and the police are saying that it was an accident. But Maya thinks that there's more to the story, and she's basically just spending she's trying to find out what happened to Naomi. She thinks it's related to the secret society that she was in also when she was at Princeton. So you get the current timeline, current chapters with Maya, and then you also get Naomi's point of view where it's leading up to her death. So it's like Naomi 10 months before her death, and like all these things that led up to what happened to Naomi. It was very interesting. I really enjoyed the setting, obviously, like I already said, and I gave this one a 4-star. Next, I read The Mad Wife by Megan Church. This was my book club pick of the month, and this one is also like a thriller, I guess. I don't really know what genre this is, like maybe like psychological thriller, I don't know. But this takes place in the 1950s, following Lulu Mayfield, who is trying to be it says she spent the last 5 years molding herself into the perfect housewife, because that was the thing in the 50s, and she kind of feels lost in that. Like she doesn't want to do those things, but it's what's expected. And they have their routine, obviously, in their neighborhood with all the other housewives, but then someone moves in across the street, and Lulu ends up like becoming very fixated on this new family that's moved in, and she suspects that there's like more going on behind closed doors at that house. So she basically becomes obsessed with this family and figuring out like why they act the way they act, and they're being suspicious. But then there's also other things that are going on with like Lulu, and like in her mind it was just very interesting. Again, like some things I did guess correctly, but I wasn't really like disappointed by that. I could kind of see where it was going, but I was still shocked that it went there. So I really enjoyed this. I gave this one a 4-star as well. But if you like psychological thriller / suspense, this one was a really good one. Next, I read Hot Wax, and this was one of my most anticipated releases. Hang on, my feet are falling asleep. This was one of my most anticipated releases for the year. I love ML Rio's If We Were Villains. It's one of my favorite books of all time. So I was so excited when I saw that this was coming out this year. This one is a mystery. I was really on my mystery thriller grind at the beginning of the month. But this follows Suzanne, who it goes back and forth between the summer of 1989 and present day. So Suzanne, back in 1989, she was 10. She was following her father while he was on tour. He was in a band called Gil and the Kills, and she loved that life, like being with her dad. She was so intrigued by that. And then the present timeline, something crazy happened back in that summer when she was on tour with her dad's band, but you don't know what. And basically you're trying to find out, you're following along to find out what happened, basically. And Suzanne's got things going on, obviously, back then as a 10-year-old, and then like as a 40-year-old, because it's been like it's been more than 29 years, I think, since it happened. And the thing about this is that I wanted more past chapters. I feel like when we finally got to the part of like what happened that summer, that's basically like left her traumatized and act the way she does as an adult, I was like, I expected more. I don't know. I just expected there to be more. Like, the thing that happened didn't really surprise me because you're not in that scene. You just find out what happens through other characters, and I was like, oh, like that's it. I don't know, I was just very disappointed by that, and I also really did not like Suzanne as an adult. She was awful, and normally, like, there are characters in books that, they're not the best people, but you get to, throughout the book, you're meant to understand them and come to understand them. Not that you would maybe support them, but you can see how they became who they are. Like, for instance, in The Favorites, Katarina and Heath, the main characters, they're not really the best people, honestly. And they probably wouldn't be that great to be around in person. But the things that go on in their lives and the way it was written, you get more to them than just like the outside of how they're perceived. So you feel like I don't know, it's just easier to connect with them and you understand where they're coming from. This one, I was just like, Suzanne's awful. I don't care about her upbringing or what happened to her, because I didn't get enough of it to really be like, okay, I sympathize with her. I sympathize for her. So I was just really annoyed this entire book. It took me forever, honestly, to get it. I just did not want to finish it because I was just like, I don't care what happens. And it was just really disappointing for me. So I gave this one a 2-star. After that, I was like, I need something that I'm going to love, eat up. I don't care. So I picked up Revolve by Bog Cabra. This is the 3rd book in this little interconnected hockey series, hockey romance series. And this one follows Sierra Romanova. I think that's how you say her name. She was an Olympic figure skater, but then had a life-changing accident on the ice that's kind of left her with some PTSD. She gets panic attacks every time she gets back on the ice, and she's trying to get back to where she was, but her anxiety is holding her back and her PTSD. And then enter Dylan Donovan, who is a hockey player, and he gets kicked off of the team for some reckless behavior, and his coach finds a way to get him back on the team, and the only way to do that is if he trains with Sierra as her partner, to show that he is like, committed and, is ready to be back on the team. Sierra and Dylan have to form a bond and a trust that allows them to be a pair on the ice. And I honestly really loved their connection. So hockey romances do have a little bit more spice in them, and sometimes they can be a little too physical, but the series that I love, what I've noticed in the hockey romance series that I love, is that there's still besides the physical connection, it's not just that. They have an emotional connection as well, and that's what I love about this series and Sierra and Dylan. I just really enjoyed it. So this one was definitely a great read after a disappointment like Hot Wax, so I gave this one a 4. Next, I listened to Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. After reading this one, I discovered or finally realized that cozy fantasies are not for me. It doesn't hold my attention. I'm not interested. I don't care if I don't want to be there just for the vibes and the characters. Like, I want there to be a plot. I want some high stake action, okay? It was similar to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. If you've read that series, that's just like a cozy, like, fairy fantasy book, and I really enjoyed the first one of that, but then when I went to the second one, I was just like, you know what, this is just not for me. And I wasn't really expecting this one to be that way. I thought it was going to be more fantasy, and like, I don't know why I thought that. I really hadn't heard any other reviews about it. I just realized that cozy, whimsical fairy reads are just not for me, where it's just vibes. But if you like those type of books, then you would probably enjoy this one. This one follows Dora, or Theodora, who was cursed as a child by a fairy to basically have no soul. Like, he takes half of her soul, so she has no sense of fear or embarrassment. And honestly, the way it was like perceived, if she had no soul, I would just think her to be mean, or I don't know. I don't really know what I expected her to act like, but it was not whatever this was. She was basically in this, like, written as just being very blunt and said whatever came to her mind. And I was like, okay, she just doesn't have a personality. Like, she has a soul. It still feels like she has a soul, because she's like, well, I know that what I'm doing is wrong, or what I said was wrong, but it just comes out that way. I don't know. That's just a me thing. Maybe I just didn't understand that part. And I think this is part of a series. I'm definitely not going to continue the series because I just didn't care for the characters or what was going on. And then in these type of books, I feel like the romance just comes out of nowhere. So anyway, I gave this one a 2-star. I feel like this month I had a lot of like high and lows. Like, I had some books that I really enjoyed, and then some that, like Half a Soul, that I gave 2 stars. And I haven't had a 2-star read in like a really long time. So anyway, I don't know where it fits into in the books I read, but I did read a new hockey romance series on my Kindle called Unsteady, and I've been wanting to read this one for a while because I keep seeing it, but I hadn't actually like downloaded it on my Kindle to read, but I finally did, and this one follows Reese and Sadie. Okay, Reese is a hockey player. He's a captain at Waterfall University. Sadie is a figure skater. Reese had a very life-altering, life-changing accident on the ice, and it's kind of left him with panic attacks, and he's trying to get back out there. Sadie has a rough home life. Her father isn't very present. That's who she lives with, and she has 2 younger brothers that she basically has to provide for. Sadie and Reese meet, and she feels a connection to him. She feels understands the darkness that she sees in him because she has it in her too. And she basically helps him get comfortable back on the ice, and they kind of form like a little friendship relationship. This kind of gives, honestly, Johnny and Shannon vibes. Johnny Kavanaugh and Shannon Lynch, if you've read Binding and Keeping 13, because of Sadie's home life. And I mean, obviously it's not as traumatic and crazy as Binding 13, but just the fact that Reese is a star hockey player, and then Sadie has that terrible home life, and then they meet, and he's obsessed with trying to protect her, and maybe that's why I really enjoyed it, because if you know, I love Binding 13, that Boys of Tillman, that's one of my favorite series of all time. I'm obsessed with those characters, so I really enjoyed that about this book in particular, and it's also an ongoing series, so, and I'm glad that I read it and enjoyed it, because now I have another hockey romance series to read, because I've been very sad since I finished the Windy City series. That's my all-time favorite sports hockey romance. That one has more than just hockey in it, but that's my favorite sports romance series. So I was like, I need a new favorite, and I've been reading a lot, and I'm enjoying what I'm reading. So I think I gave that one a 3. Next, I read Fake Skating. I know, another hockey little romance, but this one's by Lynn Painter. Lynn Painter herself has come out with a hockey romance, a YA one, and I love this. Honestly. I think I gave this a 4-star, but I think about this a lot. I think it's a 4.5. I'm gonna have to say 4.5, because I feel like this is an unpopular opinion. I feel like everyone always loves Lynn Painter's adult romances. I personally don't. I don't connect with them, even though that's more of my age range now than her YA ones, but there's something about her YA ones that are just I don't know what. They're just so good, and to me, they're better than her adult romances. I like the characters more and the stories. I mean, I'm 25. I shouldn't relate to her high school romances more, and it's not that I relate, it's just I like the characters more, and I enjoyed the story more than her adult ones. I haven't found an adult Lynn Painter book that I love like her YA ones, so unpopular opinion. But anyway, this is a childhood friends to lovers and kind of second chance romance, and I ate this up. Those are 2 of my favorite tropes, and if it's Lynn Painter, I knew it was going to be good. It follows Danny and Alec. Alec and Danny grew up together. Every summer she would visit Alec's family because their moms are best friends, and they've been best friends for years, and then she has to move away, and she hasn't come back for a while because of her dad was in the military and something with that. Her parents get divorced, and she moves back to where Alec lives, and they both have this there's kind of a miscommunication in this, where they were writing each other letters, but they both think that the other one stopped, so they think that they're both mad at the other one for ghosting them. But I loved this, honestly, and there's also a little bit of fake dating in this. I forgot to. Wow, this book is so good. Okay, anyway, I think this one's a 4.5. Next, I read An Academic Affair, and this one, I also think is a 4.5. I don't know. This book is so interesting. So this actually is an Australian author, I think, because the 2 main characters are Australian. I thought that was really cool, because I don't even think I've read a book that takes place solely in Australia. This one follows Sadie Shaw and Jonah Fisher. They're both academics They've been academic rivals since they first crossed paths in their undergraduate program in the literature department. And it gives he has always been in love with her, but he loves like riling her up, and he will take the hatred. Like, he's just like, whatever attention she gives him, he's like obsessed. So they've spent years being each other's rivals. They like push each other to be better, but also like they can't stand each other's guts. But they're also like, honestly, I mean, y'all are in love. They're always fighting for the same position. What do you call it? Their specialty. Like, they both have the degree in the literature or whatever, but she focuses on like modern fiction, popular fiction, and he's more like poetry, I think. There's a job that gets posted. They both compete for it. She gets it. And one night he had confided in her about his family life, and he wants to be with his sister who's going through a divorce, and his sister lives where this new job would be. And she's looking, so Sadie's looking through, she obviously wasn't going to give it up for him. She's like, I would never forgive myself if I like gave up this job for him to have, because they've been rivals for so long. But there's a clause in her contract that allows a partner hire. So if she gets the job and she's married, has a partner who is qualified for a job, they will consider hiring the partner as well. And so that's what she does. They get married. Marriage of convenience, I guess. And they live together. They become like a team, basically, at the university that they both go to. I mean, at this new job, they're basically hired to like co-teach, co-lecture their classes, and they have like this great chemistry because they like it's like watching a show or something. And I was eating that up, honestly. And Jonah, he was so down bad for her. And the way that she realized that she's probably always been in love with him, and he's just like, I'm just here for the ride, whatever you want. You want to hate me for the rest of your life? Just let me, like, I'll stay fake married to you forever as long as you'll have me. And I just love that. I loved it, honestly. So 4.5. And then I also read the second book after Unsteady. It's Unloved, and that follows Sadie's best friend and then another hockey player on the team. And I really enjoyed that one too. She's his tutor. Ro, Sadie's friend, is tutoring Freddie so he can stay on the team because he has some learning disabilities, and she is trying to help him stay on the team, and they kind of form a friendship. And then, you know, there's more to it. There's more layers, and I really enjoyed that one as well. Honestly, I can't wait for the third book. It comes out in April, I think, and I'm kind of excited about this one. This was about the goalie and then a girl that's always been the side, like, not a side, but she's shown up in a couple of scenes in the first 2 books, and she's kind of labeled as the mean girl, but apparently there's more to her. So I give that one a 3-star. The last book I have to share is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This one, I read in one day. I could not put down. I was like, I need to know what happens. I'm kind of upset about the ending. If you've read this, then you'll know. But this one is kind of again, another mystery book. I don't really know what kind of genre to call this, but this follows Dominic, Salt, and his 3 children. They live on this isolated island near the coast of Antarctica. It's very isolated. This island is home of the world's largest seed bank, which I didn't even know was a thing. This island is very dangerous. A lot of the people that were living there, the researchers, have left. Dominic and his 3 children are the only ones left living on this island until a really bad storm happens, and this woman, Rowan, shows up. She washes ashore. She doesn't claim to know why she's there, so they don't know what she's doing here, how she got here, what she's looking for. She's obviously lying. Dominic is like, she's hiding something. She connects with his 3 children. They don't have a mother. Their mother died when they were younger, and her and Dominic are kind of trying to learn to trust each other, but obviously they can't because they're on this isolated island that's like, how'd you even get here? It's really hard to get here, and just so many things happen. It's crazy. This was crazy. I honestly really love this. 4.5. Again, I had a great time reading that. So I think that's all. Those are all the books that I read in November. I had a great reading month, and I'm excited to get to my December reads, my December TBR. It's gonna be amazing. Can't wait to read some more holiday themed books. Hopefully I find one more 5-star before the year's over. Fingers crossed we find one more 5-star at least before the end of the year. I need another 5-star. I need it. You know, in 2025 with a bang, one more 5-star at least. At least. Anyway, thank you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!